Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I am here with a very special guest, a dear friend, somebody I've known for a very long time. And those that are in our community certainly know her as well. Meg Gray is graciously tuning in from the UK. It's super late where she is. Well, it's 9 o'clock, which is super late in our world. And she still was willing to talk with me today. And I'm so excited about it because I know that she's got a lot of great nuggets to share. And I think you'll all get inspiration from her story. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Meg today is because I feel like she has done a brilliant job of figuring out how to incorporate fitness in her life through lots of different stages. And she's going to talk about that with you, but I'll just give you a little bit of background. She started with KBC, we think about 13 years ago, and we knew each other through our children. We both have 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. Our daughters are the same age, and some of our sons kind of overlap. So we've overlapped through the years. And Meg is super athletic, so that was really fun when she came to the boot camp community because I really enjoyed training her. But I think she's going to tell you guys like, hey, no, I think we see a lot of Meg Grays, and we think, oh, it's easy for her. She's super athletic. She loves to work out. But she's had some struggles along the way too. So Meg, let's go ahead and let you introduce yourself. I know the KBC community knows you, but hopefully we'll have some other listeners today too.
Yeah, well, I think you hit the highlights. I think the biggest role I would claim in my life is mom, and I've got a great husband. We find ourselves living on separate continents currently for various ridiculous reasons, but we have our 2 youngest kids are still in the house. Our 2 are out, almost fully adulting, both of them. And, I have been working on and off, in technology. I was in the Army. I was a military brat. All these different types of things have kind of contributed to a little bit of a nomadic lifestyle until we moved to Northern Virginia and, had our kids and kind of settled down and had some roots there until just recently, like 3 years ago, we moved over here to the UK. And it has been a huge amount of fun, but also just more difficult and more challenging in ways that we really didn't even anticipate when we were thinking about doing this. But I'm just happy to be here today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy you're here. And I want to talk about that, Meg, a little bit, because one of the things that I want to highlight in today's conversation is our virtual program. And I'd never really intended on being a virtual workout community. Of course, we started outside, so that wasn't even really possible. But with the pandemic, we started to introduce live stream where our students would be working out with us and not have to be in the studio to keep everybody safe. And it was a blessing in a lot of ways because it allowed us to reconnect with some of the people that had moved away. And it also allowed us to continue our programming. And then when it was safe to go back into the studios, we continued it. And I never really knew like, okay, is this for real? Or is this something that we're going to, slowly fizzle out? But the truth is, it's for real because it's so wonderful not only to keep our members, like our dear member, star student, favorite student, Meg Gray, who moved to the UK. The fact that I get to see her on the regular still, I don't like change at all. So when Meg told me she was moving, she told me way too soon. I had to deal with it for like almost a year. And it was like a gut check. I really was really, really sad to have her leave. So how many years ago have you been gone, Meg?
It's been just over 2.5. So we're coming up on 3 years. Yeah.
Okay. So we already had our virtual program. So you were like, yes, I'm going to Zoom right when you left. Okay.
Well, ironically, I didn't think I was going to. I thought I would come here and find a community. And let me just tell you, there are not a lot of KBC communities out there. It's not just a workout community. It's just an enormous community of amazing, like-minded people who really just kind of lean into each other and support each other and cheer each other on. And you can find lots of places to work out. You can find lots of gyms. As a matter of fact, my 2 older boys were here for Christmas. We took them to the gym every day because they need like more weight than I can
Yeah.
provide them with my little, my little mini gym at home. There's lots of places to go. They're pretty expensive here in the UK. The classes are limited. It felt very, very difficult. And then while we were here, we actually moved locations. And so I'm kind of glad I didn't join somewhere. I would have been stuck with a membership. And honestly, the virtual program for me offered a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
Because you have both live classes and there's a video library. So if I'm able to, I mean, I have a 5-hour difference. If I can work my work schedule, I do live classes. I do the earliest ones you have. There's some late afternoon classes. Like, oh, I wish I could do that one. But I'm like, I'm not working out at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes.
But there are the video library. A lot of those classes are available anytime I want. And so it's really been a lifesaver for me because I've really struggled to find the kind of community that I felt really comfortable in. And a lot of places I found, like I did go to a boot camp here. It was just the same thing every week. There was no variety.
We spoiled you, Meg.
I tell you ruined me forever. I told Patrick, he's like, it can't be this hard. I'm like, the guy who ran the boot camp was very nice, but he didn't work out with us. He just kind of walked around, and I was like, you should be like our coaches train with us, like they're part of it. Yeah. And so it just
depends on the workout. Sometimes I do a lot of coaching now because I have a lot of circuits on my schedule. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. There's classes where you're all doing it together, and then there's classes where you're being coached. You might personally prefer being part of the workout with the instructor, which is great. That's great. Yeah. That's really great. So Meg, talk about so I just want the audience to hear this, guys. So she's got a 5-hour time difference. She's working. She's in a new country. So she doesn't have the family and the friends and the connections that, she had at home. She had a lot of people that she could call on if she needed to. And how are you managing the home workouts? How do you prioritize that so you still continue to do them with everything else that's been going on?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in the US, when I was there in person, I was an early morning person. I love to get up early. I would like to get my workouts out of the way. It just kind of gave me I'm a morning person anyway, but it gave me kind of a huge surge of accomplishment and a rush of energy. I just hit the ground really running every morning. And I really wanted to do that here. But what I found with the time difference and the time our kids go to school also influences my availability. And And unlike where we've lived in the U.S., there's really no safe place for me to run in the morning.
You said that before. Yeah,
there's trails everywhere. The Brits really get out and do a ton of walking and stuff like that. And so I can go during the day. But if I want to work out in the morning, running wasn't really an option. And so I just had to change kind of how I approached my day. So I still get up, I get the kids out the door. But now instead of going, straight to my workout, now I do laundry, I get breakfast, I do Bible study, I start work. I might work for 2 hours or 3 hours, and then I take a break. And I might do a live class. On the days that I know I can't do a live class, then I go, okay, when can I fit in a video library class? When can I take a break from whatever I'm doing or do it first thing and just do something, online? And so for me, I know every day I want to do something, even if it's something light, like just stretching or doing balance work or whatever. But my goal for this year is more strength, just the stage of life that I'm in. So I'm trying to prioritize those workouts and make sure I get them in. Some days I really don't want to do it, but every time I get up, I tell myself, you've done this 1,000 times. You know how wonderful you feel when you get done. This is what your body needs. And so, I take away any excuse, that I have, like I lay my clothes out, I get my workout area ready. I do all those things to kind of make it as easy as possible for me to make a good decision. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that's really good. So Meg said a couple things. I think she plans it out. Right. So she knows kind of her day, if she's going to be able to sneak out. And so it's this morning, Meg and I worked out together. It's 5:45 my time and 11:45 your time. 10:45. So she did 2 classes this morning, actually. And so I didn't even think about that, but I actually think that can be a really good time of day to work out, but it's different than what you're used to. So it would have been very easy for Meg to say, okay, I moved to this country and I can't find a good place to work out. I don't really like to work out on my own. Make all the excuses, but she didn't. Instead, she did just the opposite. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to create a schedule that works around my work schedule. She's moved she moved since she's only been gone for 2.5 years and she moved. So it's been fun to see her, like before she had this beautiful garden and backyard where she would work out. And now it's a new setup. I love the new setup too. But she had to figure it out. I'm sure even like tell us, Meg, how when you do your virtual workout, do you do it on your phone? Do you do it on the computer, TV? How do you do it?
I have an iPad I use.
That's good. Yeah.
Because what I have found is I hear better when I have my AirPods connected. So I just connect it to my iPad.
Yep.
Even when I'm by myself, I just use my AirPods so that I can hear better. So I typically, if I'm out running, sometimes I'll do a run club in my garden in the backyard, and I'll take it on my phone. But most of the times, if I'm on the back patio or if I'm inside, I'll just use my iPad. And honestly, I don't have a huge amount of space where I work out.
Yeah, I know. I saw that this morning. You did step in your living room.
I just shove furniture out of the way. I slap it right in the middle. I was doing it all the way upstairs. We have a kind of like a utility room, like a laundry room, but apparently it's above our neighbors. And so they I was like, well, the previous owner had the treadmill up here. She's like, yeah, we never said anything to them. So I figured, okay, I'll be polite and I'll just move downstairs. So it's a little cramped, but it works. We make it work.
Yeah, you make it work. I love that. So let's go back to joining the KBC community. When you first started, you had mentioned that it didn't happen right away. So you had a friend, I think it was Ann Pugh, right? Who was encouraging you to do the boot camp, and you just felt like you were a mom of 4 kids, you were working, or what? Give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, we took our kids to the same bus stop in the morning, so we're standing out there, and at this point we had 4 kids. Our youngest, when we moved in, our youngest wasn't even he wasn't even 2 years old. I mean, he was young.
Yeah.
And 4 babies takes a toll on your body. And I was just like, I have got to do something. But I was working, incredible hours, running the kids around when I did get home, making dinner. It was just really hectic. And she was like, oh, there's this great boot camp I go to. You should go to it. And I was like, I don't know when I have time. She's like, oh, you can go before work. And I went home thinking to myself, you are out of your mind. I am not getting up any earlier. Are you just crazy? And so I probably had known about the community for about a year, maybe even a little bit more. And then I stopped working for a period of time to be home with the kids more. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And and then I just got hooked. And then, of course, I started doing the early morning classes because I am an early bird. And I do like getting my day started like really strong with something super positive. And then when I eventually went back to work, I'm the one, showing up at 5:30 for a class or whatever. I'm telling people, oh, it's no problem. You can come with me. I'll take you. So I went from being like, there's no way I can ever work out this early to it just being a very natural thing. And I think it's just the confidence of knowing you can get that stuff done, right? You can prioritize these important things in your life and not use, everything around you as an excuse. Because if you're looking for an excuse, you'll find it.
Yeah, I kind of like, because Meg was one of the most I started every day with her for at least 12 years. And to hear her say, when somebody mentioned that you should work out in the morning before work, and she's like, no way, I would never get up, is almost comical to me. I wish we could really dissect what that change really was. One of the things that I say is it's got to mean something to you. Like, in order to figure out a way to prioritize your workout and build them into your schedule, it's really got to mean something to you. Do you feel like once you did that, it was just more of a priority for you for your health, or was it just you felt like you had a little bit more time?
I certainly had more time, but I don't know that that's what actually kept me coming back. I feel like, and I think I alluded to this a little bit, like how hard it was to find another community like KBC here. Like, I think just getting plugged into a network of people who, were so like-minded. Right. They're not perfect. They're not where they want to be. They're not hitting every goal, but they show up. Right. Yep. And when they're there, they cheer each other on and they push, we push each other. And so I got into this mindset. There was a little bit of accountability. There were a couple folks that I routinely would work out with, like Becca and Kathy and Sarah. And so when you didn't show up in the morning, you'd get a text like, hey, where were you?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
huge.
just being part of a group that was looking out for you, that,
Yeah.
was helping you get better even as you were helping them get better. And just, the whole community itself is really positive. It's just, there's no judgment. There's no, you've got to be this fit. You've got to be able to do these things. It's just show up, start where you are,
Hmm.
and make daily progress. And I think
Yeah.
that kind of accountability, that kind of community is really what I think spoke to me more than
Yeah.
just generally getting into the habit. I mean, the habit helps,
Okay.
but I
Sure.
think the community and the accountability and
Yeah.
just that kind of, belonging, like that sense of we're in this together, let's do it. That
Yeah.
really goes a long way to motivating people to kind of stick to
Yeah.
something that they don't always like.
But so, okay, you were someone who did like exercise. When you did it, you never, I mean, you say now that you will, well, I don't want to work out today, but like once you start working out, you enjoy it. Not
Yes.
everybody does, but I would put you in the category of somebody that enjoys exercise. And you like community, obviously, that's something. But it is interesting, and this has been a theme throughout the podcast in the book, is why you started and why you stayed, right? You didn't join for community. You weren't looking like, oh, hey, I need some community. Interesting. I hear that now. I never heard it before, ever. I never heard it for the first, I'd say 14 years. I never heard it. Now I've heard it multiple times. And when I meet one on one with people, they're like, I'm really just looking for a place to belong. And it makes me emotional because I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, everybody needs a place to belong. Everybody needs a place that they go that they feel like is their place. So how has the transition to being virtual. Now, your situation is different because you were already connected. So we all get
Yeah.
excited when we see you. She said she just got a text from Meg Phillips today. Meg likes it when she hears her name when I'm talking to Meg Gray because Meg thinks I'm giving her a shout out. I don't know. You guys are crazy.
And vice versa. Whether you're talking to me or not, I claim that shout out.
I love that. I think you told me this. Actually, someone said this, which I think is hysterical. It is when you work out, you get like you kind of go into a different mindset, and hearing your name is really helpful. So I've had people tell me that they do the recordings of classes that they were in so
Yes.
they can hear their name. I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's incredible information to have as a coach. Like, oh wow, that's really powerful for people to hear their name. We don't do it because I don't think I do. I do it because I want to give you a shout out, but to know that it makes that much of a difference is really cool.
Yeah, I think people want to be seen, like they just want to feel like
Mm.
they're and I think I've mentioned this to you before. For whatever crazy reason, sometimes we work harder for other people.
Oh
So
yeah.
if I do a video library class, I'll do the class. If I do a
Yeah.
live class, I do the class. Like I don't
Right.
know what it is. It's
Right.
just the energy. It's the people. It's wanting to. You see other people working hard, and they inspire you to work hard. And so all of those things together just kind of make the whole experience of working out a lot more fun. I mean, there are certain classes I love and that I really try and work my life around. There are other
Yeah.
classes that I kind of say, all right, this isn't my favorite class, but I need this class. I know I need this class. And
Yeah. Those are
so
the ones you need the most, probably the ones that you don't like as much.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so like for me, because like as an example, step is on Thursday. I say I've got to get 2 strength classes in before I can take a step class. So
Ooh, I like.
I prioritize, like that's my reward. My reward is,
Mm.
towards the end of the week
Yeah.
if I've gotten those classes. So I try and think in ways that motivate me. Everyone has a different way of thinking and
Yeah.
gets motivated by different things, and so you have to find out like how to talk to yourself in a positive
Mm.
way, right? How
Mm.
do you, I keep thinking. And I this probably had this conversation with 5 or 6 people in the community before I left, but we would never talk to our friends the way we talk to ourselves. Oh, you should have done that
Mm-hmm.
workout. Oh, you shouldn't have eaten that. Oh, you should go
Mm-hmm.
here. Oh, you didn't go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
We are so harsh on ourselves, and just being around people who constantly cheer you on it just kind of trains you to be more positive. It trains you to
Yeah.
be more gracious to yourself and willing
Yeah.
to kind of show yourself grace when you skip a workout or you don't work hard or you take a couple days off. Like just pick it right back
Mm-hmm.
up. Talk well to yourself the way you would as if you were talking to a friend. And
Yeah.
I find that
That's
that's something that KBC does really well. Like the
yeah.
positivity and the encouragement is really big. And I get that whether I'm doing a video class, like a recorded class, or whether I'm doing a live class. So,
Yeah, I love that. Well, I also, I mean, I saw it's been a lot of years, but I saw such a transformation in you a lot of it was confidence. A lot of it was just I could just tell that you started to believe in your own abilities better. I mean, you really are a fitness star. I mean, you're very fit, but it doesn't matter. Like, the voice inside your head is the most important voice. And if you're feeling less than and not, it doesn't matter what someone else says to you. But what I'm hearing you say is that it kind of trained you to look for the positive, because nobody responds well to negative coaching. They just don't. Our kids have all had that coach that doesn't coach well, because they don't feed the positive. They look for the negative, and kids don't respond well to that. Adults don't respond well to that. And the most important voice is the voice inside your head. That's the one you hear all day long. You're like me now. Your kids are older. You're home alone a lot. You're working from your home. So there's a lot of you time. There's a lot of Meg time, and it better be a good voice. So it makes me so happy, Meg, to know that, as you took that journey, that you had that positive voice and that you were able to make it through some hard times. I know it was challenging moving, especially with all that you had to manage with the kids and the universities and the sports and all of that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think these two things kind of go together. Having a positive mindset, like building that over the years with KBC it's given me some mental fortitude to kind of just stick through things when they're not all going well. And our move to England was relatively smooth. Our time here has been great. We've had really fabulous experience. There's just been like the challenges of everyday living. Like things that you take for granted that you know how to do in the US, trying to figure out how to do it here and then pay for it and then find it. And, all those little things, like think of all the errands you hate running in the US and then like double those here. Like that's, everything is just a little bit more challenging because it's new, you're learning it for the first time and it's a different culture. Yeah. And add to that, I was mentioning to somebody, I've hit that stage in my life where I've started going through menopause. And I have a shoulder injury. And so if I let all these things kind of go, oh, what does it matter? Just take a break. Oh, you deserve, like, you can talk yourself right out of all the good things in your life, right? Yeah. And so just having that mindset, like every time I get onto a KBC class, whether it's a live virtual class or it's a recorded class, I know I'm doing something positive for myself, right? And so anything
checking that box.
Yeah. Everything, not like it's something I have to do, but it's something I get to do for myself, right? It's an investment in myself. It's an investment in my health. It's an investment in my family. And so, instead of being discouraged by the fact, I've got menopause weight or this shoulder injury or all these different things going on, now I can just take one day at a time and go, yep, but I'm doing something good for myself. Yep, but I'm making forward progress. And so, before I would have gotten really, really discouraged. Not that every day is like roses, but now I at least can I have the mental fortitude to know, like, I've gotten through stuff like this before. You can do this. Just, it's one day at a time. It's one decision at a time. It's one workout at a time. It's just being kind of very focused. And I think I got a lot of that from you and from KBC, just being very focused. Yeah.
Well, tell people about the food when you move there. So Meg's a cook. She likes to scratch cook and bake, and she's an amazing cook. And she did have some challenges when she moved overseas. Just give us a few of those. Those make me smile.
You just don't realize how habitual you are until you move someplace where you can't get the stuff you normally get. I'd go to, I'm sure like you, I'd go to Costco. I knew exactly where everything was. I knew exactly what I needed. I could get all my vegetable. And it was just crazy, just the basic things that I couldn't find. And then when I did find them, the nutrition labels, which I felt like I was just starting to understand in the US, are all different here. So I'm like, this is healthy for me? I don't even know what this means. How many calories is this? And so like literally everything was difficult. Even just finding coffee creamer was difficult. And so just figuring out new foods. And then of course, these tiny little refrigerators that they have here. I feel like I'm at the grocery store like every other day. So
the refrigerator in your home is tiny, not like your massive.
We actually bought a second refrigerator, but it's still a European one. So we have, we have, but I have a son who drinks milk like it's water. And so,
our kids in a tiny refrigerator does not sound like fun.
No, I buy basically he drinks like a gallon every day and a half, maybe.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm always at the store between that and eggs. And so just, figuring new things out cooking wise, and then everything's in kilograms and grams and trying to figure out what a portion size is. And it just felt like I did actually set all of my MyFitnessPal and all of my food tracking aside. I was just like, I don't have time to figure
Yeah.
all this out. I just need to, but now I'm getting back into that. Now I've got a kind of a rhythm with what we're cooking and what we buy, and I'm meal prepping again. And so I'm starting to get back into that, to be a little bit more disciplined this year. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm in a place now where I've been here long enough that I have some routine. And so it's
Yeah.
gotten easier. But when we first moved
Yeah.
over, I just gave myself the grace to say, this is just a bridge too far right now.
Yeah. Okay. But you kept exercising and you kept doing other things. So maybe you weren't completely dialed into all the healthy habits. And I just want to go back because I hate the term checking the box. And what I was saying with checking the box was, so Meg identifies herself as a healthy person now. That was a little bit of an evolution for her. She didn't consider herself someone that really ate healthy. She maybe thought she did, but then, so she's really grown in that area. She's done a lot of Amy's nutrition courses and just really growth minded and open minded over the years. I would say not so much in the beginning.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I remember some of our talks with a lot, but you had the basic principles of real food, and you had a lot of good principles in mind. But she's learned a lot. So when I was saying check the box, it was like, so now she identifies herself as somebody who exercises every day, somebody who eats pretty healthy most of the time. So she had to step away, with the move. Some of the things weren't exactly how she wanted them to be, but rather than say, and this is what a lot of people do, this is that all or nothing mentality that I see over and over again that moves our health in the wrong direction, is they say, I can't, the food here, I can't even figure out. And okay, well, I'm just like, I'm here for 2 years. I'm just not going to be healthy. But because Meg had that identity of being a healthy person, and she had started to change that voice inside of her head to say more positive things, she's been able to maintain. And I don't know for sure about this, and I don't, spoiler alert, but in my mind, she's coming home. That's what I've been telling myself, that she's coming home.
We are moving back to Northern Virginia. We just don't know where yet. We got to get a house. But our goal is, my goal is to be back in person.
Let me know how I can help.
Yes.
So going back to the virtual, because I do really want to highlight that today. So Meg, just if you hadn't been a part of KBC, and I don't know how she's going to answer this, you guys, but I'm just curious about this. If you hadn't been a part of KBC, if you hadn't known the instructors and known the program, and you joined virtual, do you think you would still feel some connection?
Probably. I mean, I think it takes a little bit more effort.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
I think pretty much every instructor that I get on, if I'm on a live Zoom class or even on Facebook Live, if we announce, the instructors do a good job of talking to the people who are doing the classes virtually, right? At home, we're going to do this. At home, I'm going to be working with you guys in this circuit, and you guys stay with me. And here's how you can modify if you don't have this equipment. And I really feel like it's so flexible, right? You guys are so accommodating to the people who get online. You make it very, very easy to find alternatives if you don't have a piece of equipment or if you don't have the space to do something. And so just knowing that there's flexibility there and that there's still encouragement that you're not just a fly on the wall, you're actually participating in the class. Yeah. That makes a big difference. Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. That's the part that I try to tell people, because I just recently, I said, we're trying to build our virtual, and they're like, someone said to me, oh, well, there's Apple, they have all these workouts. And, I'm like, Apple don't know you're working out. Apple might do an algorithm. Apple might say like, oh, this is your 5th workout, but they don't see your squats. They don't know that, hey, Meg just moved up her weights. They don't know that Meg's smart enough to grab a pillow when she doesn't have a slam ball. They don't know that. And it's different. It's different. Now, maybe not everybody needs that. I consider myself a lover of exercise. I do enjoy working out, but that particular form of exercise to a pre-recorded wouldn't speak to me unless I felt like, I don't know, I just would not feel connected to the studio, to the class. So I think that is what I really like, is we really can see their form. We can see people. I have a girl in Massachusetts. I've never met her before, and I hadn't seen her. She wasn't taking my classes. She was taking other classes, and she got on the other day. And I was like, oh my God, your fitness has skyrocketed. And she works out with us 2 times a week. It's just, but she's been consistent. It's been 6 or 7 months, and she's consistent to those 2 times. And it's amazing that if she were doing Beachbody doesn't exist anymore, but something like that, Beachbody still does exist, but it's something different. Something like that, they wouldn't know that. That's one of the things that I really value in our community, and not everybody does, but I think that makes me really happy to hear you say. Meg, if you had to tell people, like somebody working out from home, what would you say are like the 3 pieces of equipment they should absolutely have?
You definitely need a set of weights.
Yeah.
You could use that just for like your strength classes. You could use that for like a kettlebell. You wouldn't actually need a kettlebell if you had a set of weights that you're happy with. You definitely need a long tube with handle. The strength handle. I feel like that's
something you can get on Amazon for like $15.
I take that everywhere. Like if I go run, I'll take that with me and I'll just do a run club where I'll stop every once in a while and do different exercise like resistance training, which I really, really enjoy.
Good. Yeah.
I like the flat band, like the hip band. I think the rest of the stuff you wouldn't need to buy. You could find stuff in your house to make it work. The one piece is the Liebert bar does help.
We use those a lot.
There's no pull.
The chair doesn't work. Oh, well, a chair works for like a kickover and stuff, but no, you can't pull from a chair.
There's no pull option. And I will say, like, I know partially because I have a shoulder problem right now. I definitely know my push-ups are off, but every time I'm in a class that does like vertical rows, I'm like, oh, here we go. But it's one of those things that, you got to work at, right? Like the easy classes, the easy stuff doesn't challenge you. It doesn't push you. It doesn't change your fitness level. It might maintain for a while, but eventually even that's not going to work forever. And so I think those 3, I think the long tube, the flat band, and a set of weights, you can do pretty much everything with those 3 pieces of equipment. It's really versatile, and you don't need a ton of space. You really don't. Yeah. I worked out today in a really small space.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I have seen you work out in very small spaces. So that is really good to hear. And out of all those things she mentioned, the most expensive things are going to be your weights. They're expensive and they're not great quality anymore. My recommendation with weights is to go to Ducks because I like their weights, and I don't know. I always want to support a store. I'm a store person still, but you could certainly get them from Amazon. I've gotten them from Amazon that have been the heads are loose and the boxes come all destroyed. So the weights are the most expensive thing. And it's tricky too, because you get stronger faster. So you may get a set of things and then realize in 2 months, like, hey, I need 20s. Used is a great place to get weights. Play It Against Sports it used to be a really good place. I don't know if it still is, but I don't even know if it still exists. But yeah, that I totally agree with all the things that you said. But I am always impressed with what I see people doing at home. They just makeshift it, and I try. When we have a lot of people, we actually know a lot with what I know. Meg has a bench. I know, Bill Foros has TRX Bosu. I know like certain students have certain things. So that makes it nice. And sometimes if I don't really know, I say, show me what you have, because I'll substitute one of their things when we're doing something different. We always make it work.
Yeah. I did certainly buy a couple things when I moved over here.
You did.
There were some classes I never took virtually when I was, when I lived in Virginia, like the Fight Club classes. They use light weights, and I didn't have like little light handheld weights. So like little things like that I got, but you don't need that. I mean, I've been on vacation and I've used like, water bottles or, you can use pretty much, you can make anything work if you really want to get that workout in.
That's the key. It's got to mean something to you. You got to really want to get that workout in, and you don't even need, you could do the punches and stuff without weights. That's awesome. I like that. So what's a tip that you would give Meg, someone that just is aspiring to be a healthier person? They're kind of on maybe the lower end of the spectrum. They're trying, but they just can't seem to find their rhythm. I feel like you kind of went through this yourself. What's one piece of advice that you would give them?
It's a little bit like New Year's resolutions. I think people set themselves up for failure because they look at their life and they say, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to give up alcohol. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go on this diet. And you can't maintain, all these new things all at once. And I think the improvements I've seen over the years, I've made gradually. Like when I first started with KPC, I think my very first winter contest I was watching people who'd done it for a while, and they were talking about like, how they were eating and how they were tracking their weight and how they're measuring, like, how many grams of protein. I thought these people were crazy. I was like, oh my God, I can never do any of that. And if I had tried to jump in and do all of it at once, I would have been miserable. But I picked areas of my life where I was struck, I felt like I had the most opportunity for improvement.
That's
And so,
interesting.
and so instead of trying to do everything, I picked one or two things and I said, just start here. And once
Yeah.
that gets to be a good rhythm, once you get into a habit, once you've kind of established a new way of kind of eating or a new way of working out, then add one more thing. And then when you
Yes.
get good at that, then add one more thing.
Yes.
And so rather
Yes.
than just feeling like you have the weight of the world, like you've got to change everything instantly,
Yes.
just any forward progress, any one thing that you can do gets you going in the right direction.
Yes.
And so for me, it was really focusing like initially, because like you said, I enjoy working out, especially when I'm with other people. For me, it was picking food. So like I said, okay, I'm not going to eat this anymore. I'm going to replace this kind of food with this kind of food. And of course, I did this while we had young kids at home, Kelly. So you can imagine the outrage when I was like, okay, no more cereal in the house. And I was like, what? And so like, I gradually dragged my family along with me. I'm like, okay, now we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Now we're going to try this. And, just little steps like that. And so my encouragement would be you don't need to start big, just pick
Yeah.
one thing. Pick one thing and stick with it. Like make a commitment to yourself. I'm going to do a month. And then once I've done a month, now I'm going to add one more thing to that. And it's just amazing how quickly the improvements happen and how quickly you get accustomed to things. And then once you start doing them, you hate to kind of give it up. You're like, oh,
It becomes
don't want
part of your identity.
It's part
when
of your
they're slow
identity.
like that.
Yeah.
You said so many things that I love. I'm going to start with this. Well, Meg and I both have senior daughters this year. They're the same age. Riley's older because she's an October birthday, and Lindsay's young. She's a July birthday. But when Lindsay got her license, the first thing she did was drive to the grocery store and buy cereal. Like she came home with cereal, and I was like, but it is funny. Like that was like a treat. The other thing that you said that is super interesting, and that I actually, you just gave me a window to say something that I heard today that I'm like, oh, I need to share this. This is really good. I was listening to podcasts on Instagram. Running a business, you have to be on social media, and it's always changing. And I don't love that part of the business as much. I like posting on social media just for fun. I don't like the algorithm. I don't like all that. That's like, I don't care. I just want to share fun stuff and move on. But one of the things that the guy that was sharing said is asking about like, how much should she post? How much content do you need to put out? And he said, whatever you can sustain, whatever you can keep posting. I was like, I need to use that line for workouts, because people will say to me, how many times should I work out a week? Whatever you can sustain. If you can sustain 3 workouts a week, great. If 1 or 2 is, then that's what you should do. So I love that you use that as an example. That was really good, Meg. And talking about the kids, what do you hope your kids or your family see you doing?
I think just being persistent, right? Like prioritizing health persistently, whether it's eating well or working out well. I mean, everyone's life is difficult. Everyone's life is complicated. There's always stuff going on that people don't see unless they're living like in the house with you. You've got kid activities, you have people growing up, people moving out, you've got new jobs. Life is difficult. And through it all, I just want my kids to see that you can prioritize things that are important in your life and you can make them part of your lives. And it doesn't have to be this Herculean effort. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a superhuman to do this, right? You find simple ways that work into your life that you can prioritize. And I think our kids, I know certainly your kids have gotten that. I know my kids have gotten that. All of them work out. All of them, are active. They all eat very well. I mean, it's kind of ironic. All 3 of my boys are trying to bulk and gain weight, and I'm the only one in the family trying to like tone down.
All 3 of your boys and your husband. All of them.
Well, and Rylan was sick over the holidays.
We don't have that problem around here. We have the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, Rylan got sick and dropped like 8 pounds, and she's like practically skeletal. And so everyone's trying to gain weight. And so but they recognize now that you can do hard things, right? And you can do hard things in the middle of hard things. We're very resilient. We don't give ourselves enough credit for how well we can do. Sometimes it's natural to take the path of least resistance. But hopefully, over the last 15 years of really trying to prioritize health, our kids have seen it. Like they actually participated in the change in how our family ate. And so they didn't just grow up with it. We talked about well, why don't we eat sugar anymore? Well, it's got like 12 grams of sugar or cereal. It has 12 grams of sugar in one serving. Like that's terrible for you. There's nothing healthy. And so they were part of that. Even though they still will, pound.
Of course they're going to want,
They're going to pound a thing of of cereal,
flurry,
whatever. Exactly, or eat a whole bag of gummies or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is that they're doing. But they at least know enough that when they are trying to, be healthy, they know like how to read a label. They just know how to do those things. They know how to be resilient, I think is kind of a key point.
I think kids are pretty savvy nowadays. I'm actually pretty impressed with a lot of kids that I see. And one thing that made me think about is something that I would say 3 of my front rowers all had in common. They mom first. Meg Gray said it in the very beginning. I'm a mom first. And I think you very well could have been one of those moms that just did for their kids. Because I saw that side of you sometimes where it was just like all about with the family, the kids, and you taking that, it was a 5:45 class. It was the first thing in the morning class, and you taking that little niche of time. I mean, it was at most an hour by the time she got me. She lived right near her. You, Kathy, Rebecca, all 3 of you were 3 people that I think it's made such a tremendous difference in your families now that we can look back 15 years where you aren't one of those moms that's like, I gave up everything for you. You had your own thing. It's so important. And I want my kids to see that. Like, I don't make apology. Sometimes I do feel a little selfish. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, I'm doing that. No, I'm buying this food. Like, but I'm like, you know what? I want them to see that I value myself and that I'm on the list. I don't just put everybody else first, because I don't want them to be that way.
Yes,
I don't want them to go into, especially our daughters, of course, they're the nurturing, and I don't want her to go into her life and say like, I just have to take care of everybody else. I want her to take care of herself.
Yes.
So we have to model what we want our kids to see. Meg, I love you so much and I miss you so much. And I'm so excited when you come back to Northern Virginia because at least I'll see you more. Yes. And I'm so proud of you for continuing your workouts through your journey, figuring out how to make them happen despite the time difference and neighbor yelling at you and all the things. And I know you've had to make some sacrifices and I know you're stronger for it. Meg, we didn't really talk about this, but Meg was in the Army. So she's pretty resilient. She's a pretty tough girl, but I think all the chapters of your life have served you really well. You're just a beautiful human being. You're so caring and thoughtful, and you were just such a bright light in this community. You still are. And I just want to thank you for still staying such a part of the community, doing our programs, you did the Summer Olympics, you did Amy's Nutrition Coach, you did the Menopause Makeover Program. I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to let you go to bed because I'm sure you have an early workout tomorrow, Meg, but you want to say anything to the KVC community or just any last words?
Yeah. I mean, it's just a pleasure. I just feel very, very fortunate. You go through life and you run into groups of people who are just superstars, not like athletic superstars. I mean, although we have some amazingly fit and very, very talented athletes in the community, but just amazing people. Yeah. It takes, it takes a lot to get through life, and being surrounded by people who encourage you, who go alongside you, who cheer on your successes, who support you through your challenges. That means an awful lot. Everybody needs a network like that. And I have been just really, really thankful that the online community has continued so that I could take classes remotely. I honestly don't know what I would have done without it. It's been a huge source of sanity for me, a source of normalcy. And I've just been very, very thankful. And I love seeing everyone. Anytime I'm in class, I'm looking through to see who I can recognize. And I just love it. It's like keeping in touch from a distance.
Yeah, technology is an amazing thing. And it's amazing that we're doing this podcast. Thank you so much, Meg.
Thanks,
good night,
Kelly.
my friend. Good night.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.